I wish I knew how it would feel to be free. I wish I could break all these chains holding me. I wish I could say all the things that I should say. Say 'em loud, say 'em clear, for the whole world to hear. Say 'em loud, say 'em clear, for the whole world to hear. I want you to say what it is that you need to say. If working in a hospital has cemented anything in my mind, it's the need to act on those tuggings in our hearts that call us to love, to risk vulnerability, to be inspired by beauty. It's all very bohemian, isn't it? Kind of a romantic notion that beauty will save the world, as Dostoevsky wrote. A few years ago, while I was trying to find something practical to do with my life, I would have rolled my eyes at that sentence, beauty must save the world or will save the world, and any of the previous ones. I was already cynical. I was in need of saving. From an early age, I carried with me the knowledge that the world was in danger. There wasn't enough water, and the air quality was getting worse. I knew intoxicants and hopelessness could change people and take them away from families. So what time did I have for beauty? Something intangible like that. Instead of continuing to dance, the thing that called to my own heart throughout all of high school, the thing that saved my life, instead of continuing to dance, I lamented that it wouldn't be possible for that to be part of my future. There was no way I would be a professional, so why bother? I couldn't get my message out there. I couldn't do the activism that needed to be done. So why bother? No one has time. At that ripe old age of 17, I knew what my future had to be, sort of. And it was that the world needed advocates, and I had to do my part. The idea that beauty or the arts were transgressive seemed like a pseudo-bohemian, privileged excuse for not paying attention to what was really happening in the world. Or worse yet, paying attention and not actually engaging in it. Now, sure, this trope might exist for a reason, but that's not the full story. My desire to help the world without much plan or focus, understanding what that might look like, this desire prompted me to dial back my dance classes as I went through my undergraduate program. That's not practical. What does this do for anybody anyway? That'll never pay the bills. My very desire to do something revolutionary trapped me in the dream and creativity killing pattern, that mindset that stopped so many people from being saved by beauty, being saved by filling their lungs with the renewing breath as they notice a flower popping through the sidewalk, exhaling the weight of always focusing on the heaps that there is to do. I imposed sanctions on my life-giving creativity, and it made me slightly bitter, but still driven to find a way to create a world where nobody would have to make the same sacrifice. To do what I could to realize the very kind world that I was denying myself. Now, that something useful obviously didn't include dance. Or so my trembling, frightened ego would have me believe. Egos love buying into dominant culture, don't they? They're so easily convinced that people need to be practical all the time, and that practicality is the opposite of artistic. It is the opposite of inspired. It takes courage to heed the saving message, dare I say saving grace, of beauty. To let the force of creativity inside you out. Even if it's only for yourself in a room alone. To allow your tender heart to remain soft in this often scary world. To pause long enough to remember why you're striving. And still, it is a natural inclination to appreciate the amazing world that we live in. To find some part of it fascinating, and to be consumed by imagination. Is it any wonder that there is a need to tell the story of practicality and sacrifice as part of growing up? It's so easy to get lost in this world of wonder. Now, children might be allowed to obsess over dinosaurs or draw pictures with no particular purpose, maybe even sing a nonsense song. But the respectability of these interests are pushed to electives during high school. And it takes strength to maintain any relationship with your passions. So the need for a job makes it difficult to ascend mountains, or even simply notice the wind on our skin. But there is still that need. And this is how beauty can save us. Pope Benedict said that authentic beauty, and yes, he does address false beauty, that glitzy, glam thing that leads to grasping and greed. He says authentic beauty unlocks the yearning of the human heart, the profound desire to know, to love, to go towards the other, and reach for the beyond. He says, if we acknowledge that beauty touches us intimately and wounds us, that it opens our eyes, then we rediscover the joy of seeing, of being able to grasp the profound meaning of our existence, the mystery of which we are a part. He says, from this mystery, we can draw fullness, happiness, the passion to engage with it every day. And it is heavy stuff, unlocking the yearning of the heart and facing the wounds which allow us to grasp that profound meaning of our existence. For Pope Benedict and Dostoevsky's character, beauty is actually a reference to Jesus and the yearning of human hearts to build traits that lead to the kingdom of God in that tradition. For me, beauty is our potential, our inspiration, and what I am moved to fight for so that it may remain available for anyone and everyone, in whatever form it takes. So I'm not going to tell you exactly what beauty is, because you already know that somewhere in your bones. How did I get from this jaded, self-denying youth who felt personally responsible for every social justice action and somehow finding and implementing every solution that I didn't quite understand? How did I get from there to this mystic, graduate of seminary, who wants everyone to take at least a moment to notice the world, the beauty that calls to them? kind of simple. I went to seminary, and it shook up my life a lot. But more importantly, I was open to these changes and noticed where it hurt a little because it was something that had happened long ago. It's something that called to my heart to do something, to create something, to drink in something. Specifically, I went to Caine after hearing Reverend Dr. Rebecca Parker speak at the convocation for my cohort of the Spiritual Activist Leadership Training. Dr. Parker spoke about finding our own personal gifts and using them to bless the world. We have t-shirts at Caine that say, "Choose to bless the world" on them, even though Dr. Parker is President Emeritus now. She said each gift would be specific to the person. Hers was theological education and playing cello. Something about her words knocked loose my own thoughts and pushed them together to form a new understanding. I needed to be a minister. And it wasn't just seminary or Dr. Parker's words that removed my eye rolling, my armored self, and made me a born-again troubadour for the beautiful. It was also reading about a cellist in Sarajevo who was so overwhelmed by the death around him that he put on his concert regalia and sat in the spot that had been mortared and killed 22 people the day earlier. And he played a lamenting adagio to honor one of the lives. And the next day, until 22 days had gone by, and each day in this war zone, he had honored the beauty, potential, and artistic wonder that is the human life. Vedran Smilovic played to honor those human lives lost, and he reminded the entire world of our own hearts, aching with grief and aliveness. And then I heard about another cellist who did the same thing last year in Iraq. Karim Wasfi can be found on YouTube playing in the noisy streets of Baghdad, in front of a crumbling and charred building, people gathering around him as cars pass by. The illogical, incomprehensible decision to go and play cello in a literal war zone. That was the final motivation for my reconnection with the transgressive act of beauty, the transgressive act of art. It made me remember something that I already knew deep in my belly, maybe my bones, wherever it lives. The piece of my own internal fire that had been snuffed down to an ember, reignited, as I read about those cellists. Suddenly, I got it. I was called back to myself. Beauty is why we do the work. The pull of awe and inspiration allows us to imagine the beloved community, even if it's just by a feeling of what is possible and not a 5-year plan. It saves us when the world makes no damn sense. We feel the potential for something more. We are moved by it. The profound desire to grow, to love, to go towards the other and reach for the beyond. Beauty dares us to envision a world where we all may do that which ignites our souls, not just the practical and the necessary. It dares us to believe that Black lives matter, that trans, Muslim, Latina people have the same kind of worth as straight, cis, white Christians, and that we acknowledge it. If we dare to answer the call of beauty, it is a transgressive answer indeed. When the world feels like it's falling apart, dancing, singing, creating, exploring turns to the fear-mongers and the hawkers of hopelessness and says, "Stop that nonsense," it refuels us. If we acknowledge that beauty touches us intimately, then we rediscover the joy of seeing, of being able to grasp the profound meaning of our existence. And it is profound. Reveling in beauty strengthens us and reminds us of the reasons that we as a faith community hold justice so dear. We are not fighting for the sake of struggle. We are not fighting for the sake of struggle. We are here because we know, somewhere deep within ourselves, we know that there is more love right here. There is more love right here. And we're going to keep on until we reveal it. From this mystery, we can draw fullness, happiness, the passion to engage with it every day. It invigorates us and releases tension. It lets us remember where we want to go. Really, we should drink it in as often as we need, because there is plenty of work to do. And it is absolutely important to remember why we care in the first place. Let's not lose ourselves to the need to do something practical. It is crucial to turn down the noise of would-be despair, if just to notice that there is music playing, and music that has yet to be written. May we find that which invigorates us. May we honor the beauty that is our motivation to move forward in life. And then may we get to work. Thank you. Please join me with these words for extinguishing the chalice found in your order of service. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.